Video bandwidth and distribution of Talking Scuba is provided by Blip TV, the next generation television network for independent shows. Do your part by donating today by visiting TalkingScuba.com. Hey everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of Talking Scuba. I'm Bob Shoemaker, an advanced open water instructor.
I'm Jeff Haveman, advanced open water diver.
And we are a bi-weekly show discussing everything from shallow warm reefs and cold deep wrecks and everything else in between. Today we're going to be talking about diving in Gilboa, as well as underwater pumpkin carving tips. And we actually have some viewer mail because you guys started sending some mail in. So we're going to start answering you guys' questions. First of all, I want to introduce you guys to Jeff. Jeff, you were a former student of mine.
I was.
And we've been diving together ever since.
Ever since, yep, yeah,
and
absolutely.
Then you got certified at the same time as your son.
I did.
Sam at 10 years old, right?
Yes, he was.
And then Ellie, Ellie and your wife came along a little
Yeah, they
later.
just got certified this spring.
So Ellie just turned 10, we have the same birthday, me and Ellie.
Yeah, absolutely.
February 28th.
Yep.
So get your presents ready. And but you guys have gotten a lot of dives in this summer. And,
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun.
Great. Yeah.
And we were down just in Gilboa last weekend, right?
It was last weekend, yes.
And we had a lot of fun down there. We got to do their underwater haunted quarry and pumpkin carving contest, and you guys kind of cleaned up on that, didn't you?
We did really well on the pumpkin carving. I will admit we did. I guess I found a skill I didn't know I had.
So tell us a little bit about that. What did you guys do as far as what you came up with?
Well, last year, the last year we had trouble getting it down to weight it down, and actually had the pumpkin float to the surface. And
you almost took out a lady.
Yeah, I did. She was there hovering at the surface or treading water, and the thing exploded right in front of her. I had to scare the hell out of her. But we, so that year, last year was kind of trouble to get it down, and I had to work overhead. This year, you brought a bag down that I was able to put a pumpkin in with the weight and get it to where it's workable. And we had come up with our ideas beforehand. And the key was to make it easy to cut, but be creative. They allow you to do a lot of props afterward, but I think some people get too prop heavy, where it's not, you can't even see what they cut. So it's not really pumpkin carving.
Right.
And so it's a heavy balance between pumpkin carving and props. And
so what did you guys come up with?
the first one we came up with was we had two pumpkins. And it was like they called it Franken pumpkin at the contest. And it was a pumpkin that kind of looked like insane and was actually cutting the top off the other pumpkin, and it was strapped to a board. So it was like I guess Franken pumpkin is what they called it. Next one was a pumpkin that we entered into the scariest category, that had cauliflower in for brains, and we put some fake blood on it to make it look like brains. So you cut the top off, and then you had the cauliflower on the inside, and then you exactly lop the big, not like a traditional little top, the good half of it.
Yeah.
Laid it to the side and put crosses for its eyes like it was dead. And then the last one was a fish category, and shout out to Jeff Fosmo for a little help on his idea there. It was a fish that we put like it looks like toothpicks, but they were actually like bamboo skewers. And we had a little like wind-up scuba guy going into its mouth. And we put a wire over and hung a light stick, so it looked like a lanternfish. And that was Fosmo's idea, to put the wire for the lantern. So it was pretty cool. It was great.
Yeah,
it looked really good.
Your guys' stuff turned out awesome, and they have prizes for different categories.
They do.
And you were able to pretty much sweep all the categories that you entered.
We won every one we were in, so we were 3 for 3. It was very good.
If you guys think you're more creative than the Haveman family, you better show up next year at Gilboa, and you can win some prizes. Speaking of the prizes, they had great prizes.
They had awesome prizes. One, they had a scooter that, well, when we were done, the winners got to draw numbers for where they picked the prize, and we had 3, so we were thinking, hey, we got a good shot at some of the top prizes. Right. Well, they had a scooter, underwater scooter, underwater camera. They had a trip. They had a season pass to Gilboa. They had some really good stuff. It was nice.
So just want to send a shout out to Gilboa and the guys at Splash Water Sports. They put on a great show. Beyond the water carving, the pumpkin carving, they also had the haunted quarry, which you guys did as well.
We did do that. It was super. It was the first time Renee and Ellie, my wife Renee and Ellie, had done not a night dive, but a haunted dive, obviously. Sam and I had done it this is our third year doing it. And they really enjoyed it. They thought it was really well done. Splash does an awesome job getting the stuff down there and getting it, set up and a course laid out. It's perfect. It's done really well.
And it's like $40 for everybody to enter in, and then you get the chance at winning those great prizes.
You do,
and you get to do the.
And it
quarry
includes
dive.
your donation to MS Society.
That's right. It does sponsor the National MS Society, so that's great. Now let's talk about some of the diving at Gilboa. It's a really fantastic place to dive.
It is.
Typically, the visibility is 30 to 40 feet plus. You can have days of really, really good visibility there, where it gets 70, 80 feet even. They've got tons of fish in there that are really interesting to look at. They've got bass, rainbow trout, bluegills, huge catfish, but they also have one really unique fish, which is not really too common in this area. It's called the paddlefish. We've got some sweet footage that we got this weekend of the paddlefish. We were actually doing one dive. It was me and Derek, and I think it was just me and Derek, actually. And we actually saw 6 of the paddlefish
that's awesome.
on one dive. It was a tremendous dive. So we were, typically you don't even see one on a dive, so to see 6 was really tremendous. These are a filter feeding fish. They've got long snouts on them. They're just really interesting to look at and really exciting to see. So next time you're at Gilboa, say hi to Mike and let him know that Talking Scuba was talking about him, and we just really enjoy diving up there. Now, do you have any special tips for the underwater pumpkin carving?
Well, not really anything other than what I mentioned about you got to be creative, make it, the biggest key is to make it easy to carve. Carving underwater is not easy. They had categories for dive knife only and, really dive knife only as far as carving underwater. What we ended up using was some of those like little saw cutters that work great, especially underwater where you can just, for my kids being younger, they're not really coordinated enough to do the dive knife, nor would I trust them to do it. I don't want to get cut or anything, but it worked good.
With getting them down, how you guys worked it was you took a net bag, you cinched the net bag down just tight enough, and then put a bunch of weight in.
Absolutely, yeah. And then it brought it down, and then you could uncinch it to where it opened it up, and then you could work from the top and just move it around. Last year, I tried to come up with this intricate rope system with duct tape holding it and thinking that I could put it down and I'd be able to work all around it. Well, the duct tape didn't hold and the thing, I was holding it down while Sam was trying to clear his ears, and the next thing I know, I see the rope going and things going up to the surface.
Yeah, they're extremely buoyant. And that's one of the hard things about underwater pumpkin carving, especially in a contest style like that, where they do not let you open up and bleed out any of that water until you get underwater.
The air in it, the water. Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. So the water, you want to get the air out.
Yeah, once you get either the top cut or a hole cut, and you can get it to where the air comes out, and it's a lot more manageable to work with. But until that point, it wants to go to the surface pretty bad. So.
Just a quick mention of one other thing that we did at Gilboa is we did a little bit of a deep dive there.
We did.
They do offer shallow dives as well as deep dives, so if you're doing any of your technical training, you can do that there as well. They've got nice platforms, deeper dives. They also offer nitrox and other things, so it's a real diver's paradise in the middle.
Yeah, it is. You can't beat it for Midwest diving. We went twice this year, and when we went, and both times we had really good visibility. So even in the middle of summer, it was really good. So
cool. And now we are going to answer a question. We got some viewer mail this week. We got Jeff Randolph from Kansas City. He writes, as a relative newbie, I know getting your own equipment is a plus, but it's a big investment. Seems like I can rent equipment everywhere I go to dive, and it's not prohibitively expensive to do so. It is true. Is it truly better to have your own gear, or should you spend the money on a digital camera housing so you can remember everything you saw at 80 feet? What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I bought equipment for all of my entire family. We have our own. And the reason is it's really a question of how much do you want to dive in a year. If you're going, 3 or 4 times a year, then go ahead and rent. But if you plan to dive a lot, it is really worthwhile to get your own gear. You know your own gear. You know it's going to work. it's not somebody else's, stuff that, they in their mouth and, where the leaks are and everything. I think it's worth having your own stuff if you're going to dive a lot.
I agree with you. Having your own stuff. I mean, it's great to have shooting cameras and stuff, but one of the most important things about photography is having, and videography, is having good buoyancy, having good control of your own equipment. And I think one of the biggest learning curves you have is actually learning your equipment and
Absolutely.
becoming comfortable
Yeah,
in
I agree
it. So
100%.
You're never going to get those great photographs that you're looking for if you don't have your own equipment. I say go for your own equipment first, get comfortable in that, and then worry about photography.
I mean, if you're going to make diving a priority and do it consistently, if you're just going to do it on vacations and rent, that's my opinion.
Right.
So,
All right, well, that's about all the time we have for this week. I want to remind you guys to check us out on Twitter as well as Facebook. Also on our website, talking-scuba.com. Don't forget to email us at fans@talkingscuba.com. We will be reading off more of you guys' emails. Jim will be back for our next episode, hopefully. And but also, please help us by donating today at talking-scuba.com. I really want to quit my job and do this full time. So the more money you guys send, the faster I can do that. But also, we are also advertising. We're going to have a little bit of advertising on the show just to pay for it. It's not cheap to do this and to go on all the fun trips that we get to go on. So please help us out, talking-scuba.com. We will have discounts on our advertising through the end of the year. So till the next dive, we will see you guys on the next episode. Cheers.
cheers.
What you got there, mofo? We do it?